All right. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the episodic discussion for inFAMOUS. We have a plethora of guests here, and I'd like to introduce them all. So I'd like to start with my co-host, Mr. Captain Chaos.
What's going on, guys? Glad to be a part of this. Huge fan of the inFAMOUS games.
Next up, we have Mr. Arcane Magic 514.
What's up, ladies? I'm a big fan of inFAMOUS, and I can't wait.
Next, we have Mr. Inferno Dragon. Introduce yourself, good sir.
What up? I got my blast core ready and everything.
Next up, we have Mr. Milk Dud Artist.
This is Milk Dud Artist, and when I was caught in the blast of the ray sphere, I got this really low voice.
I like how you attempted that gravelly voice he had in the first game.
It's like, who has a voice that rough? It's like, this man sandpaper his throat or what? Anyway, I'm done.
Next, we have Mr. Ratings. Can you hear us, sir?
Yeah, what's going on, guys? I'm just really happy to be talking about inFAMOUS. Oh my god, these are some really good questions. I can't wait.
I can't wait either. And last but not least, I am Renegade Operative, the host of the TCP. So we're going to dive right in and get started. So I'm going to take the first question. Let's begin with our first introduction into the inFAMOUS series. How did you first get acquainted into this series from Sucker Punch, and what was your thoughts upon playing it for the first time? So who wants to go first?
I'll fall on that grenade.
Go ahead.
So the first time I found out about inFAMOUS was from a crappy fighting game that just so happens to feature him as a guest character.
Oh no, I know what you're talking about.
We all know that game. I'm not going to mention it, but so I saw him play on like videos of YouTube because it was like at the time I wasn't too interested in the game. So then finally I saw the inFAMOUS collection and I got it and I started playing and I just thought to myself, this is nice. It's cool. It's adventurous. It was some pretty good mechanics. And played and beat the first one in hero mode. I beat Festival of Blood. I've beaten inFAMOUS 2 hero mode. The only thing I have not played is Second Son or First Light, and I have not completed Evil mode in the first 2 games. But I would like to.
All right, so we're going to move on to Mr. Ray Things. So what is your experience with inFAMOUS?
Well, I didn't have like a really cool way to find it. I just walked into a GameStop one day when the game had come out, and I was like, this cover looks cool as shit. So I was like, I guess I'll buy it. And then I started playing the game, and it was just a bunch of stuff that I hadn't really seen before with the karmic system, and I just kept going and going and going. And then the sequel, and then the sequel. So it was like a dumb luck chance because I like the cover art.
Yeah, you got to keep going like an Energizer Bunny on inFAMOUS. So next we have Mr. Inferno Dragon. So what is your experience with inFAMOUS, good sir?
I was first introduced into the inFAMOUS series through my cousin. He had gotten the first game sometime before my birthday, and on my birthday he actually had introduced me to the game by pretty much forcing me to play it right then and there. It was a bit odd at first, but the whole karmic system was kind of the thing that really got me interested. Was I can be either good or evil. I can be a dick or I can be the hero of everyone. And I really did like the whole concept of the lightning powers. It just caught me on after like only a couple of minutes, and I'm like, okay, I'm hooked.
We're still on question 1?
Yes.
Okay. Who turn is it right now?
Justin just went.
Okay, well, I guess I'll go. Well, my first experience with inFAMOUS is kind of literally a long story, but I'll try to keep it brief. Started out with my friend who actually introduced me to the game first. He told me about it and whatnot. So around the time I got my PS3, I picked up the demo, and I had a blast. So you know that Sony hack outage, right? That's how I got the first game for free. And thus I beat the whole entire game like twice in a week, platinum it like years later or whatever. And yeah, that's how I started inFAMOUS.
So, Mr. Chaos, what was your experience?
Yeah, mine's not really too interesting either. I think I literally just rented it at Blockbuster one time, and really enjoyed it.
Blockbuster's still a thing?
It was
Damn.
well around that time. There was still
It
one around
was.
me.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, it was only like I think it was like a few years ago that the one near me like just closed down. But yeah, I rented that. Really enjoyed it, and I also got it for free when they had the PlayStation hack.
I think
Rest
that's
in
how
peace.
everyone got theirs because I remember when I got mine. I think it was around that time I got the first one, and then the second game went on PS Plus because it was free. Both of them were free, so that's how I managed to pick them up. I think I got Second Son physically, and I played that to death. I like the concept of the powers, the fact that as the series progressed, they started to give you more interesting powers to play with, like Neon, Video, Concrete. In Infamous 2, they gave you like some Frost powers. They gave you Napalm. It was very interesting for the time, and I really loved the story. I think the first one, that twist at the end, it really got me, man. I was like, this is really good storytelling for a superhero game, and they kept that up to standard with Infamous 2. For Second Son, it kind of was a little bit disappointing because I wanted to see more of the older characters, but ever since they went on with the stuff that happened with Cole, which we're going to get into the document, I guess it made sense to sort of create something new. So that's my experience with Infamous. I ran into it with the PS Plus stuff, and I played it, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. I can't wait to platinum those games.
That's how I play Infamous 2, actually. I game share from with my friends in Europe, and I just played it off this PS Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
So-
rest in peace to Blockbuster.
There
So-
are still some around though. Like
They're
still
just
some
dying
around.
out.
So
Yeah.
we're diverging, but let's move
Sorry.
on to the next one.
Well, no, it's facts.
Yeah, it's facts. But so who wants to take number 2 off the document? Brian, you know you want to.
Brian, go ahead.
I was about to say, Infamous is pretty unique for its karmic system where players get to choose between good or evil deeds. What is usually the karmic alignment you choose from the first, and which game had the most impact with you with this mechanic in mind? Y'all already know my answer.
The good ending. Yeah, I'm the good
Even-
side.
Yeah, even if I couldn't do as much damage to the enemies as I wanted, that's the only thing I hate. Like, it's the first thing I'll go with just to see how that turns out in a game like that. But at the same time, it's like, look, I get it. You're making sure you don't kill civilians. That part I don't have a problem with, but it's like, good deeds, not as aggressive as evil. And I'm just thinking to myself, it's pretty much the only drawback is because let's be honest, when you shoot lightning at a bad guy, and you get a headshot, I'm pretty sure that kills him.
Yep.
The game tries to say that doesn't count because it's takedowns, but yeah, I can understand what you're saying. I think if they're wounded and if you go over them and shoot them again, you get bad karmic points because at that point you kill them.
It's a wounded kill.
Yeah.
Yeah, wounded kills.
I see. Usually when I do that, it's like if they're already knocked down but they're still conscious, like you just see them sort of in fetal position. It's like usually the thing I do is just
Use
go up
archer
and
train.
well, it's either that or I just walk up to them and kick them.
Yeah.
The kicking was fun. That was always fun, especially
Yeah.
how they did it with the electricity around it. You kick them and then they're just electrified kicked. Oh, it was good.
So, Mr. Raythings, what do you think about the karmic alignment question? What do you usually go for, good or evil?
You know what? I went good both times, just because that's how. I don't know. It just made sense to me. But
My man.
no, I'm sorry. I went good all 3 times because of Second Son.
My man.
But
Same there.
I remember when I played Infamous 1 and I did the good, and then I started playing the bad, and I finished the whole game in a day. I didn't leave my room. I didn't eat, because I was just so stunned with how like wicked going evil looked. It was so cool. And then you get black lightning if you absorb the ray sphere. Oh my god. I was like, what the it almost made me wish I had gone evil first. But I mean I stuck with the good alignment, but they made the evil tempting, not just because of like the freedom of not having to save people and stuff. Just they made it cool just to be bad in
Evil
the
is
visuals,
tempting.
the powers, everything.
Especially when you had those side missions where it's like Whereas like you got people that come up with you with the most stupidest stuff.
Yeah, I liked the evil comic route. I think I went with both of them first because I like being bad. I just like being a dick to people. I think the funniest part was when you go to the tar pits or whatever. There's like oil, and then you get someone to open the tar vat for you, and it sprays on them. I thought that was funny as shit. But I like the evil comic route, and then I go good like second because I think that the good guys, they have it the hardest. So I usually bump it up to hard mode and play as the hero second.
If anything, the heroes or the good side is more strategic, because I noticed that in the first game, for example, that you can actually like realign your rockets if you zap the guy and then no civilians are nearby. Plus, if you do hit a civilian, it would just go start flying with that little blue electromagnetic field around them. Mm-hmm. In essence, you're not really killing them.
Yeah, and I think it was Infamous 2, they started having the good comic route be sort of a medic thing where you don't really kill anyone per se. It just goes around them if you shoot at civilians, or it has to be a wounded kill exactly. So I kind of like that. It sort of made sense, and it's like it wasn't annoying because in Infamous 1 you sort of didn't have that, and if you kill someone you get negative points. So yeah, I did like the evil comic route. But someone said comic route was like underpowered or it didn't have enough damage. Which one was that, good or evil?
That was good. Like the funny thing is like you can like what it is that the damage itself isn't necessarily the problem. It's more so the fact that you basically don't have the potential to be as aggressive, especially when you're pretty much getting shot at, curve stomped, and you need to just mow over these dudes first chance.
I'm actually playing 2.
Okay, 2 is another thing, but yeah.
Okay, so just on the topic of being underpowered for the good side, did no one else love the power behind throwing an electric tornado? No, wait, no. Oops, no, that's the second game. No. The calling down the lightning from the sky.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
You mean the Ionic Storm?
Yes.
That was amazing.
And it was like God's fearsome wrath rained down on thine heathens. No.
I remember when you did the mission and they were like, absorb the power from the generator. And I was like, cool, I'm going to get another power. And then you go up from the sewers and then everything slowed down and it was like, hit the down on the D-pad. So I did it and it was like lightning. And then it just kept going. Oh my God, it was so good.
Honestly, I didn't move for like a good 30 minutes. I was just spamming the lightning, destroying everything.
I guess I'll go with my answer then. I chose good karmic route because I do that for like every game that has good and bad options. I just can't in good conscience be dick to people. Like unless I wasn't taking the game seriously at all, in that case I would just be a dick. But if I'm trying to like get at least in my opinion, like the good ending of a story, I want to kind of be a good person. But yeah, I do realize it's you are pretty much underpowered or not as powerful as if you were an evil person. So that's I do like that they do that in Infamous, and they kind of make the evil side more tempting by giving you more powerful abilities if you're bad karma. So what did you do, Justin, for the karma?
In terms of first choices, I always went with the heroic side on all 3 games, honestly, just because, well, might as well get that part out of the way. Because I was going to do both sides regardless of whatever game I was playing, because I wanted to see what both were like in terms of just powers or conversations or story, especially in 2.
Yeah.
And in the first game, my God, if you were a dick, the game let you knew that you were a dick.
Yeah, it has most.
You turn so gray and so veiny. And like Ray Thing said earlier, if you absorb the Ray Sphere, the thing that caused the entire event in the first place, you got more powerful lightning, but it actually locked you at Infamous rank for good. So it's like, you want more power? Well, you're going to have to be known as an evil bastard for good.
You got more Infamous. Title drop.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? I mean, it was kind of pointless, though, to lock you into Infamous, though, right? Because you absorb the Ray Sphere, and then it's like, enjoy being locked in Infamous for the next 5 minutes.
Well, for starters, you going on an evil route, so you kind of ask for it.
Well, no matter what
Second
rank
of
you
all,
are, you're
you-
locked into it.
Yeah, but if you perform that action, which caused the events of the game in the first place, and slaughter like more civilians, you're kind of asking for it.
Sort of.
Yeah.
I,
Whereas when you go to like a heroic champion, it's like you can still slowly but surely turn more evil unless you keep doing the good stuff in the game.
yeah, you're not
Yeah.
like locked at champion. You can still become
Nah.
bad.
Yeah.
Wait. So, which question are we on? Still on
We
question
were
number two?
still on number. What was that? Number 2.
Dude,
Yeah, it's number 2.
Yeah.
So
Okay, cool. So, speaking of the karmic system and things regarding the karmic system, please tell me I'm not the only one who thought it was hilarious when you went good, you try to save your girlfriend. Oh no, she ends up dead. You go bad, you try to save your girlfriend.
she's dead again.
And then, oh, I hate you. She still ends up dead. Like, no matter what.
Man,
Yeah.
I was so mad.
She
You know
really
the best part about
She
that?
doesn't like you for most of the game, but when you try to be a good guy, she eventually likes you. And then like when you're a bad guy, she's like you're an asshole.
Yeah.
And you still try to save her anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah,
You know
when-
what the best part though? You can actually shoot her too. If you get shoot the doctors, shoot her or try to save her for the evil thing.
Oh, I shot her.
It's like this is
What happens if you
cheating.
shoot her though? Is she like out of the story?
Evil. No,
Oh,
yo, she's dead regardless. So
Yeah, but it's pretty much the same thing. It's like I raced over to her body to try and blah 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 blah, and then it's like she's dead.
blah blah blah.
It's
blah.
like, it's like you shoot her just like this is for cheating on me with Dale.
I will find you, Kessler.
Dear God, Kessler.
But on that note, does anybody want to read the next questions? Number 3.
Somebody that's not me.
I'll take it.
Oh, he got it. I'll do the next one.
Oh,
All right. Question number 3. What has been your favorite powers and techniques to use in this series so far?
ooh,
Yeah.
that's a hard one.
I would
that
say
is-
I just don't remember specific powers. It's been so long since I played it, but
Honestly, real quick, I would say the Hellfire rockets and the napalm grenades because that's the only useful abilities on the fire or napalm.
yeah.
I agree.
In my opinion, generally the ice powers are significantly better.
Yeah, I remember in the second game you got a lot more options with like what you could do and your abilities.
It also took away some powers too in the second game, which
Yeah.
I was kind of disappointed about.
Yeah,
So how did everything go?
That's
So-
we're
not
still
fun.
going.
We're on
Okay,
question number 3.
Number 3. Okay. Number 3. Let's see. Did everyone go yet?
Just
Not
no.
yet.
So I'm just gonna throw this out there. I know it says which. Wait, hold up. Does it say which power or powers?
Favorite
Power.
powers and techniques.
Okay. So I can have. Okay, good. So I just want to throw this off the bat. Every single power after you get Black Lightning, because it's fucking Black Lightning. I mean, I didn't even care what it was. It was Black Lightning. I know that doesn't count. I'm just saying, like,
What, the Gigawatt Blades?
You like the aesthetic?
everything was just increased the second I got Black Lightning. It was amazing. I mean, I couldn't beat that. That was freaking awesome. But if I had to get specific, definitely the tornado from Infamous 2. Obviously, I already said calling down the lightning. That was awesome. I loved the Gigawatt Blades just because it gave you more melee, because a lot of the stuff was ranged. I think the Shockwave is a classic. I mean, it's great. It's just freaking fun to use.
I have a question. Was the shockwave where you could send people flying, sort of like just?
Yeah.
It was
Yes.
the push. It was
Okay,
the
that's my
electric
favorite
push.
because I love sending people flying in games.
Yeah.
I love how you could just make them float and you just see them just spazzing out.
No, I think my favorite powers was the kinetic poles, the one where you pick up the cars and shit, and you can lob them at people.
Oh,
I
yeah.
always thought that was I always thought that was fun. I know people don't use it that much after you get to a certain point, but I thought that was fun in the beginning of Infamous 2. It was great.
It was like, heads up. It was like, heads up. Incoming! Crash.
I think other powers I liked was that Phoenix ability that you could do in Infamous Second Son, where you sort of like you go to the sky and then you come back down and you land on someone. I don't know what the move is called.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I forgot the name too.
Yeah, I forgot the name, but that move where you come back down and you blow everything up, I thought that was pretty cool.
Orbital drop.
Yeah, the orbital drop. And I also thought that the concrete powers was pretty cool. I like going around in the concrete mass, just running people over. That was friggin' great.
The Ionic Freeze was pretty cool though. In Infamous 2 that you got from Quo.
Pretty cool. But Super Drain though. The Ionic Drain, Jesus Christ, that is devastating. Especially when you go full Karma, you'll be invincible for a few seconds. I mean.
Oh yeah, I remember the Super Drain. That was pretty cool to use.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, the Ionic Drain for the evil powers.
Yeah, the evil power.
Oh, I didn't do that.
And you can't say that the video game summon wasn't cool.
The Hellfire Swarm?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It was just what summon up some video. What I mean, it was like video gameception, man. You can't beat that.
Oh, you're talking about the video powers for the gargoyles. I remember those. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I like the sword rainstorm as well, where you can sort of like pinpoint your sword and it'll hit people if you shoot it in a certain direction. Damn, Infamous Second Son has so many unique powers too. For a limited selection, they did have a good variety of moves.
Especially the video powers, though. Those were fantastic.
Well, for me anyway, it's just. Well, yeah, it's kind of hard for me to choose. But if I really had to go for a few, it is like I do love like the lightning storm, especially in the first game where you could just control wherever the fuck it goes.
Mm-hmm.
That was always too much fun.
I love the Iron Storm in the second game.
Sticky grenades. I always love to do sticky grenades.
Yeah, those were fun.
It's like you toss on someone, they look down, it's like, oh god!
Yeah, I love how they freak out.
That was a great part of the game. Like the fact that they put that in there, the fact that they knew they got stickied and they would just start panicking. Oh my god!
That is unless you got that one that just randomly ran towards you.
Oh well, that'd be unfortunate. Yeah, I have had grenades like explode in front of me all because I stuck someone in front of me, so I know that feel, man. But I think we should move on to question number 4. So, who wants to take number 4?
Oh, I got it. I want this one. I want this one. Oh, I'm so ready. All right, so regarding the story, which Infamous game did you think had the most substance to the narrative plot-wise? And I just
one.
Yeah,
one, right?
Yeah,
it was
one.
Because one sets up every single thing. It's not like one came out and then 2 was like 2 was the sequel and then something brand new in 2 started up Second Son. It was no. Cole goes back in time. It's like emotional heavy. It's just like mentally heavy, the whole thing. And there's the Beast, there's Kessler, and the Beast travels over to the second game, and the Beast causes everybody to get powers.
I was even, and then on top of that,
Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I was gonna say on top of that, like when it comes to the first game, it's pretty much the thing that, like it sets up pretty much the thing as far as like choices, which when you look at everything that happened as far as Kessler, or rather I should say Cole pushing himself to make certain decisions so that he could face the Beast, get more power and everything, it's like you see how that's framed once everything comes together.
Yeah. And also, you don't really see that plot twist coming most of the time. Like, I think I remember like being surprised by that twist. I was like, "Oh, that's pretty." I didn't predict that.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Yeah, I think in comparison to like the whole twist at the end of 2, that was just way better.
Yeah, because like Kessler finding out who he really is, but then you see what Kessler is really capable of.
He's a lot more powerful than Cole, but you can tell Kessler was holding back in that fight.
Yeah. Because it's like, he's got the electrokinesis, and he's got everything that Cole himself can do. But
better.
Yeah, it's like, because then he's super fast. He can, this man can shadow clone himself.
Can he teleport as well? I remember that.
He can go back in time. He can time travel.
All I remember is the rapid button pressing.
I think that the whole plot of Infamous 1 was just, it was great how they did it with Kessler. I think it was just a big test for Cole to overcome the beast. So Kessler holding back in that final fight made sense because that is the epitome of Cole getting stronger and being revealed that he was initially, he just had like his family killed. That really is something that I really don't see a lot in like storytelling. The fact that they have this whole time travel mechanic and it works out well with the events that happen.
Yeah, usually when you throw in like a time travel plot, it doesn't always work out so well. But it actually made sense. So like that's kind of rare because most of the time it's something that it feels like it was just pulled out of their ass, sort of. But here it's
they did do a dick move with Trish though, because either way, either route you go, she pretty much dies.
Yeah,
she's just on opposite sides of the building, which I thought was kind of hilarious.
Because it's like you go to save the daughter, it's like Cole, you really abandoned your girlfriend. Well, all right, she dies.
Oh well, no, nobody likes her anymore.
You go to save her in the evil route.
And I just didn't like how much she nags you, but I understood why. Yeah. But it's like, come on.
It's like,
well, her sister kind of died.
It's like, dear God, just shut up. And it's like, I can't believe you would choose her over the fate of everyone else. Snip.
You know what's funny though? Kessler kind of killed the continuity of Cole having kids with her.
I think that was pretty much the point because basically his saying is that he wanted Cole to be more decisive and ruthless when he had to take on the beast, especially because I feel like Kessler in the timeline he came from, he knew who the beast was from the beginning.
Is it true that they said that Brandon, I want to ask you something real quick. Is it true that they said that Cole was strong enough to take on the beast in the alternate timeline, but
yes, he was.
Due to the fact that he had kids, he sort of fled with them first.
Yeah, he didn't want to. He kind of died with his family first.
So did his girlfriend survive in the alternate timeline?
No,
they died. They did.
They
super did.
That's pretty much the reason why alternate Cole, well, as we know, as Kessler, kind of goes nuts, essentially.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember it was because of grief, pretty much.
He let the beast keep going. He let the beast go on that rampage, and he was like, it's not my problem. Takes his kids. He bails. They die. And then he's like, well, I guess now because I'm unhappy and sad, I'm going to go back in time, and I'm going to jumpstart everything by like 5 years. And he makes everything happen.
He does jumpstart everything.
He makes everything happen.
And the weird thing is, though, how did Kessler get his powers?
Same way. Pretty much, I guess you could say the race fear thing happens at the beginning of the game. Only instead of Kessler having himself to do all this stuff to him, he just coasted through everything and lived his life. Him and Trish got married and had the kids. And then after they get going, then he goes back in time and jumpstart everything after the race fear blast. Which he may very well could have been the one that had Cole delivered in the first place anyway. So,
Any more other opinions on this?
Oh, yeah, someone did brought up that Kessler could have got his powers naturally over time, because some conduits can.
Yeah, it is explained, especially in Second Son, that you can get powers as a conduit just by living. Yeah,
I think people, when they started talking about the conduit gene, people can be born with it. It just needs to be activated.
So is this like a metahuman mutant thing where it's like, under the right amount of stress, he too can unleash his power?
Something like that.
Or in the bedroom.
Something like that.
Okay.
Did the twist at the end of the second game take anyone else by surprise, or the fact that you could the good karma route was all of a sudden bad, and the bad karma route, which was the other woman, I forgot her freaking name, but was Nyx, was good all of a sudden. It's like you have to team up with her to defeat the beast.
Yeah, that was a twist.
Man, Cole was just being selfish.
I guess the beast kills Cole or something, but it's like, I don't know.
He dies trying to. I think he manages to beat the beast, but he just dies no matter what.
Yeah, which I didn't really like, to be honest. Like, I don't know. I felt like, I don't know why they did that. Like, just killed him off like that. I mean, not saying that they had to keep him alive, but it's like, I don't know.
How they did it.
It just came out of nowhere.
I mean, especially at the end, though, we see the lightning bolt striking the bolt.
Yeah.
Well, like, they kind of hinted that he can come back.
But then Second Son happened, so.
Yeah, second son happened, but still, it still can easily retcon it. I mean, it's open. Unless you see a body of Cole, it still can happen.
I'm gonna say this man comes back
You
like
did
Superman.
see Zeke with like I don't know, this is like a coffin or something at the end.
Yeah, but that's when the lightning bolt came in. As soon as he went like in the middle of the sea, the bolt struck down at the bolt. Like the thunder thing, whatever.
Talking about the question mark lightning bolt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's still ambiguous if he's like alive or dead. They really they didn't show his body like in Second Son, because I think that in Second Son Zeke is in there too as a side mission. So I always say until they show that person being obliterated, then they're really not dead.
Mm-hmm.
But you never know. I personally, there's a question later in the document that I want to get to regarding Second Son. So I think we should move on to question number 5. So who wants to read that?
I think I can read it.
Go ahead.
Let me scroll down. Okay, number 5. What are your opinions on the canon fate of Cole McGrath? Would you want the character to return?
Oh, we were just talking about this.
Yeah, we were, but just yes.
Yeah.
He's like hands down the best character for Infamous.
Yeah.
I totally want him to come back. But something that the Justice League TV show that I love, a quote from them was, "Believe none of what you hear and half of what you see." So I'm going to say that Cole is most definitely probably alive.
So he's gonna pull the Superman when he fought Doomsday.
I mean, think about all the stuff that Kessler could do, right? Stuff that would take like obviously a conduit body, but something even like beyond that. I would not be surprised if like most of Cola's energy at this point.
It's like this man probably just comes back like he was Jesus out of nowhere.
Thunder Jesus.
Yeah.
He'll wake up like 8 months later and just be like, "The fuck happened?"
Yeah.
He blessed Delson with the conduit gene.
He's just Delson character, like,
Delson, I wonder what kind of guy he's like. Damn, might as well give him my energy.
Did you guys ever get the recordings in Second Son of Zeke talking about Cole?
You mean the dead drops?
Yeah, the dead drops.
Yeah.
I got some of them. I
Yeah.
think in 2 I got all of them, but not in Second Son.
In Second Son, Zeke talks about how Cole, he hints that Cole's not dead.
Really now?
Really?
Yeah.
Explain yourself.
Hey,
Someone has to find that one. That is one I have not seen at all.
Yeah. Yeah, can you like explain it like dialogue wise?
Give me one. You know what? I have it right here because I remember it's like the last dead drop, and Zeke is basically talking directly to Desmond about like the history of Cole, and he's telling him all the stuff that Cole did with the Beast and everything, and he tells him that you never know, he might be back, brother, or whatever. And I'm trying to find out the exact quote because it was just very, very suspicious.
okay.
Yeah, I would like to see Cole. Like, I don't know. I would like to see Cole return if he ever does. I feel like if that, that probably is going to happen if there's another Infamous. I didn't really care for what they did in the second game, but if it's, I guess if it's not, definitive if he's dead or not, that is if you get the good karma ending though. But I do like that it's like, kind of vague. You're not sure if he's dead, but
I think it was just their hints at foreshadowing his fate. Like you don't know if he's dead or alive, so that question mark is pretty much undetermined on the player. But I do hope he does come back because I think with Delson existing now, it'll make an interesting dynamic of Cole and Delson, and maybe that could lead to some stuff like a co-op game. I would throw money at you, Sucker Punch. Seriously,
like a karma ending. Like you could like
the bad
have a
karma
Cole
ending. I
evil
was gonna
Delson.
mention that one too. Because I don't wasn't that not canon? Like the bad karma.
That's a later question, actually.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, all that is just another question. So save your thoughts for that.
All right. Yeah.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
gonna
Oh,
mention
that's
that.
Yeah, I'm trying to get at is imagine if that actually happens, Cole and Desmond in one game, you could have like a good Cole or an evil Delson, and you could create some conflict that way.
I wouldn't mind that.
Was Delson like a decent character or anything? Because I haven't played Second
He was
Son.
alright.
He's okay.
Not as good as Cole though.
Yeah, he doesn't
No.
have the same personality or impact as Cole did.
Which isn't bad, but let's be honest. Sometimes it just doesn't need to work out that way, and let him be his own man. Stuff
Delson's
like
a
that.
man.
Wait,
Please, Cole, come back.
anyway,
All right, so we're continuing on to the next question. So who wants to read it?
Ren?
Hold on, I'm typing. Give me a second. All right, which one's this? Number 6?
Yeah.
yep.
Okay, speaking of characters, do you have a favorite character in the series?
Now, is this favorite character besides Cole?
Yes, besides Cole.
Damn it.
'Cause I know everyone's gonna pick Cole, so.
Zeke.
Zeke.
Main
I
characters
didn't
or
like
side
Zeke.
characters?
Mhm.
It could be both.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't mind
Besides-
Zeke.
I mean, Zeke to me, he provided that kind of humor that you would see in something like the Justice League cartoons or Marvel movies, where it's like you got that character who they can just say that thing, and it's like just when you're starting to get the feels, here comes Zeke saying something crazy. It's like, yeah.
That entire conversation where he talked to Cole about how Zeke ran from the cops and he pissed on one of them, that was hilarious.
That man pulled an R. Kelly. At least he didn't videotape it.
Oh my god,
Oh my
bro,
God.
stop. But anyway, yeah, I thought he was hilarious, but I didn't like that fact that he betrayed me. He did redeem himself at the end of Infamous 2, so I'll
Yeah.
give him props for that one. But when he betrayed me in the first game, I was like, Zeke, I kind of want to choke you because you almost like kill everyone with this ray spear shit.
Yeah, that
We
was.
were all
I was
pissed off
trying to
from that.
remember that what that did have to do with the racer. I'm just trying to remember like how he betrayed you because I do remember he did something with the racer.
He wanted power for himself.
Yeah, what it was is that they had to get the ray sphere from that tower from the trash men, whatever they were called.
Man.
The Dustman.
The dustmen.
Dustmen.
They're
Dustmen.
pretty much the trash men though.
The garbage guys.
Garbage.
I mean, these guys pretty much wear trash bags and stuff all over themselves. But yeah, so like they had to get the race.
Oh my god.
So they have to climb all the way up this tower that is pretty much just looming over the city, and they get to the ray sphere, but then some fighting happens, and I think the old man that was the leader of the Dustmen, was his name Alden,
Aiden.
whatever, huh?
Aiden.
Yeah. And so he starts tempting Zeke. It's like, look at what you had to put up with this guy. He's got powers. You're in his shadow. Want power for yourself? Do it. Just do it. Then he activates it and it's just like H-bomb drop.
And then nothing happens.
Yeah.
But I think that Zeke kind of grows on you, but he does that one dick move. But he grows on you more in the second game, and I think that I didn't think Cole was bad. Until that point where she tried to betray me in the good ending. But
Which I'm like,
Was that the Asian chick?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's
I like the
hot,
Asian chick.
Who else I can think of character-wise? Damn, there's
Brooke Augustine.
Augustine was just
Augustine?
a bitch. Oh my god.
I loved Augustine. Tell me that you didn't kind of laugh a little bit when she put the concrete in that old lady and she was like, "I'm told that hurts."
Oh my god.
You.
That's why she was such an old hag. But yeah, I can see her as she was a good villain for what she did. I mean, she wasn't bad. I just think that by the time I got my hands on her, I was like, yeah, I got this bitch now. So that's all good.
Hey, on a quick side note, because this does have to do with the game, but I just find this funny. Am I the only one who thinks that there is a place in one of the games called Smut Triangle?
Infamous 2 had a lot of weird, questionable, suggestive signs. So, I forgot
the movie theater.
Yeah, the movie theater had a lot of them too.
It's like Smut Triangle. It's like get between it.
Dude, one of the side missions in 2 had Zeke airing a freaking commercial that was like, "Hey ladies, Cole single."
Oh my god, worst friend ever.
I'm sorry I did that.
Worst friend ever is right though. Have you played the Festival of Blood DLC where the entire DLC is a story he was telling that chick, and Cole's like, "Are you telling lies again?" So Zeke could try to get with that girl, and then the girl was a vampire.
Kind of dropped my amp in a pool.
So it was true but a lie. That's funny.
That's a question later in the document though. So say that. But I guess we could move on to the next question, which is number 7. So could someone read that off, please?
I shall do it, if you don't mind.
Actually, before we go to number 7, I have a little side note to add up. Have
Lord.
any of you guys read the Infamous comics by DC?
Yeah,
I researched
One of
them,
them.
but I researched them, didn't get a chance to fully read them though.
Because it actually explains the gap between 1 and 2. But you know that chick from the first game, I forgot where her name
Moya?
was. Moya, yeah. It explains. You guys don't care about spoilers, right? Because it's already old. But,
It's a spoiler cast anyway, so go ahead.
Okay, well, yeah, she dies in the comic book.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Who was she again?
Yeah, she's a chick that I told Cole to go get a race bill for the government.
Member of DARPA who is involved in a collaboration with the First Sons and later worked with Cole in Empire City.
Oh, okay. And she sounds familiar.
She's a chick that starts talking to you in the beginning of the game.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, the comics should have been like its own expansion game, because there's a lot of good continuity material, like the arguments between Zeke and Cole, because Cole was obviously so pissed at him. And there's the main character who Kessler tortures, I believe, and wants his revenge, and ironically he takes it out on Cole. So apparently this guy has the same identical powers to Cole, so it makes him harder to kill. So those two had a few battles in between the comic books line up to the end, where Cole kills that guy, and unfortunately, I forgot her name again. What's her name again? The chick?
Moya.
Moya. Yeah, when Moya drowns underwater in a boat, Cole tried to save her though, but he couldn't get to her in time.
I think they sort of they explain. Yeah, I read a summary on this. Yeah, they explained that she drowned. That's why she's dead. Because I was wondering, where is this chick that was in the first game that was talking to me on the radio? I remember she's not dead. That's one of the things I did remember. They didn't show it until I read about the comic.
That in the comic, but not in the game.
Oh, some games and stuff do that all the time. I think this is a little bit diverging, but I think that Prototype did this with Alex Mercer turning evil. They had a comic miniseries on that, and it pretty much explained why he didn't like humanity, because he felt they were greedy and selfish. So that's what the comic book explained. So we'll talk about Prototype another time. So anyone have any more questions on number 8? No, wait, which number is this? Number 7.
No.
Number 6.
Number 6. Okay, I'm jumping ahead. Goddamn.
Yeah. So, yeah, now we can move on to number 7. You guys can have no more thoughts on that.
All right. Here we go. In the conclusion of Infamous 2, it was stated that the RFI blast killed every conduit and non-active conduit on Earth. This was later retracted in Second Son to the RFI only killing, quote, most conduits, not all. What do you think of this recon to the series? Honestly, I think it was actually better for it, because, for one thing, if the blast was somewhere that was in an isolated spot, considering how big Earth is, how would it kill every conduit? Well, how would it kill most pretty much how would it kill every conduit and non-active conduit on Earth?
Okay, let me interject. I think the ending of 2 tried to show us that the RFI blast pretty much engulfed the entire Earth. Because remember, when it shines, when it shines up, it engulfs everything. So most active conduits and non-active conduits are supposed to be dead. But this was retconned because I think they wanted to do Second Son and they wanted a new character. They didn't want to use Cole, so they said it killed most of the conduits, which, I mean, if they wanted to turn Infamous into a meta series, then that was the only way because as much as it sounds stupid, they had to pretty much continue it that way. I don't know if they wanted to bring Cole back or not, but again, it ties in with the question we have later about the trophy percentage, about the good ending. But at the same time, it's like they could have brung him back without having to do something this crazy. But it is a good way to have Infamous continue. So I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I think it's dumb, but at the same time, that's the only way it could continue.
You know what they could have also done is have it happen on an alternate timeline where that never happened.
They should make it like a multiverse game, where
especially since the first game establishes there is, alternate timelines and all that where things happen differently. So that would make sense. That would still make sense within the context of the series. So I mean, you wouldn't even have had to, rewrite that. But whatever.
Yeah.
Alternate timeline, yeah, but again, they did the time travel thing before in the first game. They really didn't do it that much in the second. It pretty much just went to, everything's established. So, I don't know what they were thinking there. I think they could have done it that way, but another way is bringing Cole back and I guess having him sort of go up against a new conduit and maybe see like the different perspectives of both sides because, like I said, that sort of Cole versus Delson thing, I think it would have been an interesting idea.
Yeah.
It is a very odd-sounding explanation, but I can sort of believe it just because of how genetics tends to work with mutations being very common in other places. And pretty much with everything else being so unrealistic yet realistic at the same time in this series, I could just be like, all right.
They could also do this and say that there was like some on other parts of the planet there was maybe like an evolved conduit or something that could withstand the blast and they like reproduced or something like that. I don't know, but you could write it that way. There's a few different ways you could get around it.
The deepest of lore.
Yeah, like I said, it's a stupid concept to say all of them are dead, but only most of them are dead. So
yeah, I think that was lazy, honestly. Like they could have thought about that more than just be like, oh well, whatever, we'll just change the wording. Fucking.
Yeah, it was lazy.
So, anyone else have any other opinions on this before we move on?
What number is it again?
This is number 8.
7.
Well,
7. I X'd that out already. Never mind.
Come on, man.
I need to get on top of these. I know. But we're on number 8 now. This was number 7 about the RFI blast.
Oh, well, their wording, the explanation was actually kind of stupid. Like, they said it killed like most conduits, but that some of them have natural resistance. But in the second game, they said it killed all of them. Like, it was kind of confusing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right now, just no.
There's other stuff I prefer besides just having him say that, but I guess we can move on to number 8. So I'll read that off. Considering how the good ending of Infamous 2 was chosen from the trophy percentage to be canon, let's have a what-if scenario with the original director's vision to have Cole McGrath become the Beast. How would you continue this plot thread into Second Son if Delson went up against Cole?
Oh my god, I love this one already.
Well, Cole would destroy him though, but
he really would.
Cole would wreck him.
Cole would wreck him. He's much stronger. We all know this. Ever since I think the blast cores really didn't help Delson's case if this was going to be the case. But I do think that maybe him touching people and getting their powers, that might have helped, because I remember in the evil ending for Delson, he went to prison and he was going to touch everyone's hands who were conduits. So I think that would have been a way to sort of stack it up with the odds.
But he can't use them all though.
So pretty much create the conduit Justice League or
Well, he can't use them all, so that's the problem. He has to absorb one power and then move to the next. So he still has it, but he has to have that sort of crutch of absorbing it. So I think they could have. Go ahead.
I was going to say Shazam versus Black Adam's just two, pretty much two dicks just battling it out.
Sword fighting.
Okay, so what's the consensus that Delsin, on the off chance that Delsin would have ended up accidentally running into a conduit again and accidentally absorbing his powers, letting him figure out that he is a conduit? Because remember, it was all by accident.
Not only that, though, if he touches Cole and try to get his powers, he can't use them because, well, if you guys notice that the more powerful the conduit, the more likely Delsin can't use the powers right away.
Because he doesn't necessarily have the control or even the raw power to really just use them at his disposal like that.
Yeah, so basically, if he touched Cole, then I'm just throwing this out there, he'd probably kill him.
It makes me wonder how did he get Augustine's power? Because she was really powerful.
Yeah, he grabbed her. She let him get the power from her.
Well, I was just gonna say, remember, they were throwing in shards for him to absorb while you were fighting.
Oh yeah. That's why. So he got more powerful over time, and I guess he got more stronger because he weakened her. So it still is kind of weird how it works, considering the fact that there are some people, they need these blast shards in order to get powerful, in order to get more powers. So I don't know, maybe it could have been a random accident, but I think Cole would have been in charge of the conduits, and he probably would have led the charge instead of Augustine. So I think they could have done it like that.
Okay, I just want to throw out two things, just real quick, that I think cover a lot of bases. First, let's say Delsin did figure out that he had powers, right? Because remember, it was all by accident. Let's say Delsin did figure this out, right? And then he fights Beast Cole, and he absorbs Beast Cole's power. So now Cole still has his power, but Delsin can't use any power. Then Cole would win. He'd probably be weakened, but he would definitely easily win, right?
Not only that, he would just use the Bio Leech if you really want to kill him.
Yeah, and then let's say that Delsin again figured out he had powers, and he somehow convinced Augustine he somehow figured out how to absorb a bunch of conduits' powers, right? He found conduits, because Augustine wouldn't be a thing because Cole would be running through the world on a rampage.
So, yeah, and he's the beast, so there's that.
It'd be a reverse second son.
Let's say Delsin had all these powers now, and Cole's the beast. Really think about, I'm going to read something off to you. Tell me if you really think, how many powers is he going to need to be able to fight this? On top of Cole's electric powers, plus the ice powers, plus the whole...
Napalm.
The...
Napalm.
Yeah, the napalm powers. And then he would also have pyrokinesis, telepathy. He could turn giant, anti-gravity, black hole manipulation, regeneration, ray field blasting, controlling other people's abilities, teleportation, and power transference.
Jesus.
This man is going to be OP. I'm sorry, but that's just going to be the truth.
I want to play as this man.
And thinking about it now, is considering who became the first beast in the game is kind of when it really comes down to it, it seems like it wouldn't even matter who became the beast because somebody likely would have.
Yeah, it was an inevitable thing.
Yeah, because it was John became the beast, he needed to be stopped, but then Cole had the potential to become the beast. And it was just no matter what, somebody's getting screwed.
Mm-hmm. What were you saying, Brendan?
Nothing.
So the beast is just some inevitable apocalyptic event that's going to happen regardless.
Yeah, in the original timeline, the beast came up anyway out of nowhere, like an RKO, and then all of a sudden in the alternate timeline, I think it was accelerated because they were saying something about that because of the blast. His powers or whatever, John, it was accelerated to the point where he showed up a lot quicker.
which is like because I'm looking at his page on the wiki, and it's like it's saying that his whole thing is that he was capable of pyrokinesis, and then it was like I guess him being a pyrokinetic on top of the power that he manifests when he became the beast, just like increased that drastically. So it's like, John was pyrokinetic, Cole was electrokinetic, but Cole would Cole just been like a giant walking lightning energy being, or what?
No, I think when he transferred his power over to him, he still maintained his form, but we didn't see him transform into the beast. That would have been fucking interesting to see Cole like transform into the beast. That's why I wish they went with that bad ending where Delsin will fight Cole, because seeing that probably would have been interesting to see on the PS4.
Yeah, because it was like when you saw John, he got absorbed by the ray sphere, and he had to reform himself, and then it's just like, well, we're all screwed now.
I haven't heard of Sucker Punch really doing anything ever since like First Light anyway, so if they're not gonna make it like a new game in this timeline, or maybe an expansion explaining Eugene's story, guys, come on. Maybe they could make that whole what if scenario game if Cole had been evil, because that really would be interesting to actually play through, just to see how the whole world would have been so fucked up if Cole had been an evil bastard the entire time.
Yeah, that could have been DLC easily.
I feel like it could have been worse than anything John would have done. How it would have played out is another thing, but it
probably would have been the fact that Evil Cole was a dick, so there would be a lot more conduits running around, because in the evil ending for Infamous 2 is pretty much just all conduits. Like all humans are getting exterminated, so there's going to be a lot of conduits around, I think.
But that wasn't canon, apparently.
Yeah,
Didn't they say that wasn't canon?
They did, and it's all because of the trophy percentage. Many people got the good ending a lot more than the bad ending, so that's what they went off of, which is...
Oh, so just based on that? That's stupid.
Yeah, I still wish that would have been DLC, though.
They really should have made both paths. People would throw money at it regardless, let's be honest.
We all know this because the DLCs are a later question, but those DLCs were pretty good, and I do admit I did get like First Light. I bought it. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I can't wait to platinum it. Let's go on to question number 9. So, Justin, can you read that off, please?
All right. Talking about endings, which is the best ending for you in the whole series? Differing karmic endings can also apply.
I have to think about this one. I really have to think about it.
Delsin. The fact that Delsin said, I'm going to shake everybody's hand on the way out, that made Delsin canon. Well, the evil one wasn't canon, but...
For Second Son, we don't know. I'll say this much. We don't know for Second Son.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, it's confirmed. I think it's confirmed that the good ending is canon.
Really? Oh, my God.
I'm going to be spoiled for Second Son now. So what was the good ending of Second Son? I might as well ask.
The good ending.
He pretty much goes back to the place and saves those people from getting concrete up their ass.
Well, I have no contact because I don't know shit about Second Son in the first place. So I'm not sure.
Let me explain. Let me explain really quickly. Basically, Delsin is from the inFAMOUS tribe, and they have he's from
Native
a tribe.
American tribe.
Native American. So he's from a tribe, and there's this lady named Augustine. She's a conduit, and she puts concrete into the people there. And Delsin has to go out and try to save them because he cannot remove it by any other means than to have her power. So at the end of the game, there's 2 endings. The first one is the good ending, which is he saves the people, he gets the concrete out of them, and then he makes a mural of his brother because his brother died. And he says, I love you, brother. I'm going to miss you. The bad ending is where the people reject him. But he says he's gonna shake the people's hands on the way out at prison because he's gonna get more of their powers. So when he comes back, they pretty much disown him at the tribe, and then he kills everyone.
Oh yeah, he orbit drops the entire the shack. Well, not the shack. It was like a building. It was like a small building. He just orbit drops.
He killed the whole village. They're dead.
That's hilarious.
Does he turn
Yeah.
gray and veiny?
No.
No,
No,
he
no, no,
doesn't
no.
turn gray and
He
veiny.
He gets darker, but he doesn't go veiny.
That sounds more
Uh,
interesting than the other ending, at least. I mean,
It does, man. It's like if
yeah.
that's
It's the-
canon, oh
this
my,
question
it's
is
the good
about-
one.
it
Good.
seems like they don't want to. The Sucker Punch wants to make like all the bad endings like this not canon or something. It's like, you know.
What's crazy is that the bad endings are so good. Delsin walks away, easily the strongest conduit on the planet. And if Infamous 2 had gotten, different ratings, Cole would have been the strongest one on the planet. What? And I mean, think about it. Evil is really relative. Cole didn't think he was doing anything evil. Cole just thought he was saving his people. I mean, come on. It's not like
Yeah.
it's not hard to believe that
Mm.
that he's not, the bad guy. He's just trying to save his people because normal people are trying to kill the conduits.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really like. I mean, both. Yeah, when you think about it, both endings are kind of him being pretty selfless because it's like he's doing it all for like. Well, bad ending is like he's doing it all for the conduits, and the good ending is like he's trying to save mankind. So, I don't know. So, that's a good question, though. I'm not sure which ending is the best one. It's a hard one. It's a tough one.
Well, for me, is I gotta go with the first game so far as far as best endings because I like both of them. It kind of represents the character and everything that happened behind them, like all these evil and good decisions that happen. It kind of represent I think represent like the character better than what 2 did, sort of.
Yeah, I would still go with
And
the first one.
Infamous Second Son, the evil ending was pretty awesome though. I'm not gonna lie. Like the tone, the voice, and the fact that he just went in and started shaking people's hands. Like, I'm sorry, that was awesome.
Yeah, I like Second Son, and I guess the good ending for the first game was pretty, it's pretty cool. So I have to say Second Son, evil ending, the good ending for the first game. Those are my favorites.
Personally, I just love the good ending for the first because it's like I said, pretty much all the decisions get set up to where, you see how his choices affected everything.
Yeah, and the fact that he's gearing up for the beast even more in the good ending, I think it was pretty good.
Yeah.
So I guess we can move on to the next one, which is number 10. Mr. Brendan, could you read that off, please?
Brandon?
Rip.
Brandon.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mute for a second.
Okay. Unfortunately, this is where Brandon kind of cut out in this podcast, so you can't hear what he says with question number 10, so I'm going to take over with this edit. In Infamous Second Son, there are 2 scrap powers called Glass and Livewire. What are your thoughts on Sucker Punch scrapping these powers, and should they have added them in as DLC?
Also, with murder and manga missions, do you think paper should have been a power as well?
We talked about this earlier. I don't know how paper would have worked because
Paper cut.
There's paper.
yeah, they're
kind of think about
Yeah, there's a
that.
paper
I couldn't
conduit.
see how it works because
What
no
the hell
paper
would that
can't cut.
entail, though? Like how? Like what?
Wait, hold on. Let me explain real quick. I'm pretty sure paper can cut, right? So I'm pretty sure they could have used that as a concept. Yeah, like think about it. If someone like Delson, who is just straight up, merciless, he could probably shred you to bits with just paper.
And once again, the scrap powers in Infamous Second Son was going to be paper, glass, and live wire. I can see glass working. I'm not sure about live wire.
What would that do?
Wire would just basically be like Cole's powers, but
Strangle
wires.
people?
Maybe strangle
That sounds
people.
awesome, actually.
Maybe make whips. That could be a
Capture
thing.
people, I guess.
I'm actually looking at the pictures right now
Whips
for
of glass.
Wire. I'm looking at the concept art for Wire, and it is. I mean, it's dope. He's stabbing people, he's choking people, he's locking people up in a box, spikes going through people, wraps them up in a ball. I mean, it looks awesome.
That's like some torture powers right there.
You should
They
see the
couldn't have
glass,
given
though.
this DLC.
The question
Glass,
is
man,
how
you can create bombs.
how do you manifest something called live wire though? How do you
Wires.
even huh?
I guess
Those are
maybe.
wires.
I guess maybe like telephone poles. Maybe that could be a thing.
Yeah.
You could just get
Also-
him into a room where there's no wires and you wouldn't be able to do shit. So
Or if you have glass
also,
everywhere, well,
Damn
it's
it.
screwed.
also, I'm sorry, but as far as the paper power, it's like you need to. It's like, let's be honest. Paper comes from hardwood. It's like how?
I don't know.
Somebody-
Maybe Delson could go to like a Xerox place and he'll be overpowered.
You
The
just,
you
just
need to
shoot
shred
stacks
some
of paper.
documents.
The recycling center.
But I
Office
think
Max.
if anyone has any more opinions on this, go ahead. Otherwise, we can move to number 11.
And
We
we
should have gotten
these
these powers
so-
DLC.
Yeah, we should have.
I
This man,
think
this man goes to a copy place, just starts shooting wads of paper at people.
Hey man, paper cuts hurt.
Paper
No,
bomb.
not even paper cut. It's just like a stack of paper just shoots out.
Oh, hey,
It's
imagine Delson throwing a giant paper ball at the city.
Oh god.
But Ray, you were saying something?
I was just saying that based on the concept art, I think the wire and the glass were really freaking cool. And I could totally see why they scrapped it. Probably like you guys said, a source problem. But paper, I feel like paper would have worked. Paper could have worked because, I mean, we even see it. She can manifest all that stuff. Clearly, it's a different kind of power. It's a concept that they would have probably had to it would have been like 50% BS and then 50% actual science to try and make it work. But it was really cool, and I could see them doing the same thing with the other ones, especially anything they do in the future. It doesn't have to be 100% right. It's a different universe. It doesn't have to make sense to us. It just has to make sense to them.
Which does beg an interesting question, because it's like, okay, so there's a character who can manipulate the earth in the game, and then it's like I started thinking about that, and it's like, well, Mortal Kombat X had Tremor, and he does a thing where he can cause earthquakes. He can switch his arms between like gold and
That's like
molten.
bioorganic rocks.
Yeah,
In
it's
the
like
case of Augustine, that's actually concrete, not earth.
okay,
Oh.
okay, well, either way, it's like the point is like if you can have a character in Mortal Kombat X where they can manipulate like turning their arms between gold and molten rock to even crystal, for
Yeah,
God's
bro.
sakes.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's not impossible.
the main point is it's fiction, so I'm pretty sure they can come up with some bullshit excuse like, oh, paper's light, so maybe this gives you like some flight abilities or gliding.
sounds
That is
awesome.
Fold some paper
Yeah.
cranes.
Not only that, we have vampire
Paper
powers in
airplanes.
Blood.
Okay,
yeah, we
look,
did.
Fly on the
Okay,
paper
look.
airplanes.
Have you guys seen it though?
Origami.
Have you
I'm on
seen the concept art for it?
I've seen some
I've
of
seen
it,
it.
yeah, where you create the cow troops with like glass.
They're
That's
really
pretty
awesome.
interesting. You can make people step on those, and I think they could create some very interesting like power ups that way.
can I just say something about the paper thing?
Go ahead.
Okay, so if we're gonna actually try and throw in, any type of science or sensible thing, any sensible thing, if paper power to be a thing, let's be honest. If somebody were to turn themselves into paper, even attempt to walk outside, and a strong wind blows, they're going for a trip.
No, I just thought something funny. So if Delson can turn his body to paper, can somebody just put him in a paper shredder?
You guys are ridiculous.
Okay, yeah, because and the funny thing is, I started thinking about Jackie Chan Adventures, where you had to fight
Oh,
the dude who could
God.
switch. He could switch between human form and his paper form. And it was like this man is like Jackie Chan threatened the dude with a pair of swords that he used like scissors. It's like how it's like this man could change his form from human to paper spider to paper bird, and I'm just like, you mean to tell
Man, just
me?
set him on fire, all right? That's all.
It's like you mean to tell me this man touches some magical artifact and it's just for paper. You're talking about an ancient artifact where paper as we know it wasn't a thing, but paper.
Also, what if Delson gets wet in his paper form? Like, and he gets all soggy and he can't.
Now that I think of it, that sounds like the worst power ever.
So if it's like raining,
he just starts
he-
shooting spitballs.
Yeah.
False.
Oh God.
So I
So
guess
give-
we could move on to 11 before Mr. Brian diverges.
This man be a used napkin.
All right.
Shut up, you. Shut up.
Let's move on to number 11. I'll read this. To follow up the last question, what type of powers would you like to see in the next Infamous game? Fire? Order?
Yeah, definitely
Yeah,
fire.
fire.
Legitimate pyrokinesis.
Yeah.
Legit.
That or quantum, like either gravity or quantum physics.
But yeah, give somebody the power of like radiation, like give him like nuclear energy, like Captain Atom.
Or Havoc from X-Men.
Oh, you mean the kinetic blast?
Yeah, that.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool. I would like to see that. Let me see powers. I'm trying to think of some comics here. Maybe like, I don't know. I like to see more strength-based powers. Like you could just pick up a car and haul it at people, no problem. You can like pick up a light pole and beat people with it. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Doesn't Second Son do like neon light stuff or something?
Yeah,
I'm
neon.
about to say,
Yes.
pick up.
I mean that's fairly unique. I'll give it that because I'd never think of neon light powers.
Hang on, Ren. You talking about taking a light pole and beating people with is like you're talking about beating people with your big pole. Come on, man.
Well, I mean, if they perceive it that way,
Oh,
then
wait.
yes.
What that metal?
Stop lying to yourself.
That metal. No, that
Metal.
That sounds like a Terminator power.
Speaking of metal, what about like the Terminator 2? Like you turn into a freaking like this liquid metal person.
That'd be insane.
Yeah.
Jesus.
you have like
cold,
liquid
have a
metal
field
blades
day.
and stuff.
I wouldn't mind.
Pretty cool.
I wouldn't mind seeing some sound powers.
Yeah, you could do that.
Oh.
Sound
Vibration.
is so versatile. You can do so much stuff with that.
Sonic
blow your head
Blast.
off.
Sonic Boom.
Sonic Boom.
Yes.
That's dope. I'm liking the sound too.
Sound is actually a pretty good idea, I'm not gonna lie. And you can get it from you can recharge sound from a lot of places, pretty much anywhere in like a big city area. So it actually sounds pretty good.
Yeah, radios, boom boxes, anything that has
Stereo.
sound really.
Go to
Yeah.
a nightclub.
Yeah, nightclubs.
DJ
Alcohol. Alcoholism.
It's like
Honestly, I could totally see sound being the kind of power that would just like recharge up over time, and then the skill tree would just increase it would lessen the recharge time. Like sound would just be something that would keep going up, but it would be really powerful, but you can't spam it.
I
Oh
think
wait,
that'd be.
it
Go ahead.
just hit me. I want them to return some supernatural powers like they had in Infamous Festival of Blood. Like, there's one thing that actually disappointed me about the DLC. I know that's a later question though, because I will make this real quick. You don't have a lot of unique vampire-esque powers. Like, you don't have like, say, I don't know, bat bombs or like blood rockets or anything like that. No,
I mean,
something unique.
let's be honest. Let's be honest. Vampires need blood, and the bad thing, I feel like it would have worn on itself pretty quickly.
Well, no, that Cole technically doesn't because he's not a full vampire per se. Because he still can use electricity and just be fine. He doesn't necessarily need blood for gameplay mechanics, of course.
Yeah, but at the same time, as far as like anybody else having vampire powers, it's kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of a weird fine line, but I do see what you're saying though.
Yeah.
Can we get the power to sparkle?
No.
This ain't Twilight, bro.
Man, where are we on? What's that chick? Jubilee?
Sparkle in the sunlight.
Get your horrible fan fiction out of here.
All right, so let's move on
Ryan.
to number 12, please.
Hey man, that wasn't me.
Who wants to read that one?
Number 12. I'll read that. I haven't read
Go ahead.
anything yet. What did you think of the user-generated content that Infamous 2 produced when you could create your own scenarios, and do you think it should make a return in the next Infamous game?
Yes.
The dog said yes.
UGC was such an interesting concept, and it still really is an interesting concept. Just having people create their own missions from various different objectives here and there. And
yeah,
honestly, it really could be more fleshed out, like in another PS4 installment, especially with its higher graphical capabilities, higher power in general, and just more power capabilities.
Was that part of like the online components for Infamous 2? Because I don't think I even bothered with some of the online stuff in that game.
Yes, it was because you could connect to the internet and you could see a crap ton of UGC markers all over New Marais.
Yeah, I might have messed with that once or twice, but I don't remember much about it. So
Most of it
I'm
was
guessing
just
that was
people
actually a useful thing in the game, or it was interesting because I didn't really bother with it.
It was a very interesting thing. It's just I wish it could have been fleshed out more and reintroduced bigger, badder, and better in Second Son.
It reminds me of like the user generated, the created missions in like the Hitman games. Like, you know, people could submit different contracts. I don't think a lot of games really do that.
They actually tried to like make people notice them more in Festival of Blood because there were actually like 2 required story missions that were actually UGC markered.
Does anybody else have an opinion on the UGC thing?
It wasn't my favorite part, and if it wasn't for the fact that there were trophies, I wouldn't have even done it. Like,
I mean, to me, it was like user generated content. It was like it seemed like a good idea, but a lot of the missions really started looking the same after a certain point.
That's the problem with the user generated stuff.
And then some people were making like some BS maps. I know one person. There was one I played, and it put you in like a caved in, not a caved in, like a closed off area. You walk in, the wall comes down, and then it was just like golems coming at you. And I tried to just take them all out with the tornado, and because of the way it was shaped, the tornado just went right through them. Didn't even touch it. And I was like, "What?" And it was ridiculous.
That's bull honky.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, I think just to diverge a little bit, I think people were doing that shit in Hitman. Like they were doing this impossible situation in the contracts where it's so hard to complete a mission. And I keep asking myself, like, how did these guys do it? Because I cannot kill this guy in a specific way like they want. So some people, they create some BS missions. That's why I don't like it too much. I'm probably gonna go back and play it just for the trophies, but after that, I mean, I don't have much love for them. But it is good, and it offers a lot of content in terms of a variety. But for the sake of loving them or giving some sort of like praise, it is user generated content, so that's the problem. Like some people make it impossible to beat.
Kaizo Hitman.
Like I said, some of those missions that people created in contracts, they're like impossible, dude. I can't beat them. I got to kill one chef with a mini knife while someone's watching him.
Another chef
like,
is a bullet bill. There's 1,000 bullet bills coming at you.
Yeah, it's like impossible. So that's how I feel about it.
Give them too much power, they just start to abuse it.
Pretty much,
Yeah,
actually.
That's pretty much the gist of it. Like you have all these tools, but you can be an asshole. So
It was Mario Maker before Mario Maker.
Oh God! It was like, let me see. What can I possibly do to screw up somebody's game today? Oh, I know. I'm such a dick.
So
Yeah, that's the laugh they're doing.
So I guess we can move on to question number 13. I'll read this one off. Do you think that inFAMOUS should implement something from a superhero game that hasn't been implemented yet into this particular series?
Japanese Spider-Man. I'm just kidding.
Oh, hell no.
Giant mechas?
Obviously,
We're talking about giant mechas?
it needs
We're gonna have
mechs.
spider mechas?
We need spider mechs.
It's like there's enough Gundam as it is for one lifetime.
Did I come back to Japanese Spider-Man? What the heck?
We're on question number 13. So something that hasn't been implemented in this series that's in a superhero game. I guess
Japanese Spider-Man.
I actually have one. I have one actually. The mobility options in Prototype. I actually do like the fact that you could run up buildings faster. I didn't like in inFAMOUS where it takes you like 8 years to get up a building. I really prefer it in Prototype in my opinion.
And
What
then
if
you
you
got to
could
find
fly?
all kind of ways to climb it.
Can you fly in Second Son? Is that something you can?
Yeah, essentially you
To a
can
degree,
use the
yes.
video powers if you can utilize them, right?
Yeah, you can
I was
sort
about
of
to
fly.
say fly, but
No. I think they're just random glides.
Super gliding?
Yeah, they're just super
I call it
gliding.
Super gliding.
I'm Batman.
yeah, I want to
Flying
say
with
you could
style.
fly, but I'm not sure.
Actual flight, like staying in the air without descending. I think the inFAMOUS doesn't have that yet.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Festival of Blood did it though, but it was limited towards your blood meter.
Yeah, I feel like it would need to be balanced out with something. Like if you fly, you'd have to like maybe there's like a meter. Like if you fly for too long, you have to go down for some reason.
Yeah, probably that.
You can't just like fly around without limits, I guess.
Yeah, now that I think about it, yeah, you don't want to stay in the air too long.
You couldn't
Otherwise,
swim
the player...
in the water either because you were electric.
Well, Delson didn't have this problem, but Cole did.
That power that could make you fly could just have 2 meters, like one for your attacks and one for flight.
What about
And
like the Flash, like super speed, like you're really fast?
Oh, that'd be cool. I'd never seen that implemented in a superhero game before. That'd be cool.
At least not in a way where it's believable and you actually see them go fast.
Yeah, you're not. It's not going to be a blinding speed of light here. It's going to be something cohesive that you can see.
Because I remember seeing Injustice with Flash's gameplay, and it's like you see him moving fast, but him running fast just does not happen.
Mhm.
I mean, like when you look at Flash's super speed, it's more like when he does his power trade, it's like everything slows down, and it's like he's still at normal speed. So it's like it's fast, but only to the enemy character. And then it's like when you see him do the clash that breaks a combo, then it's just like he's running at regular speed, but for some reason he's moving really fast, like he's taking really small baby steps. They could just do it to where like you run really fast, but maybe they just like blur your surroundings or something, so it looks like you're going really quickly. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, motion blur.
Yeah. Even though I hate motion blur, but yeah, that would be the one instance where it's like, okay, I can deal with it.
Because like worst case scenario, do the Cyborg 009 thing where dude was moving and he made shadows, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the effect they usually go with for a lot of video games, actually. They just use the shadow technique, or they just use, like, you know how DBZ does it. They look like they're moving really fast, but it's a lot of lines just moving back and forth. So
anime speed lines.
Yeah, speed lines.
Anime speed of light.
So I guess we could move on to number 14. Should there be a neutral comic route? Yes or no? Explain your reason.
Yes. Yes.
Well, there was originally going to be one in the first game, because you can see it in like specific beta screenshots, but they just never implemented it. I'm guessing because they thought it would be too much to balance out. But it would be a very interesting thing to see, because you can see what you can be like if you're a saint. You can see what you can be like if you're a complete and utter asshole. But what if you just didn't care about the outcome in general? What if you only cared about yourself and yourself only? Just you weren't a dick, you weren't a saint, you were just doing your own thing just because you wanted to do your own thing. What kind of powers would you gain or lose, or any kind of thing for that?
Here's the thing about why, to me, a neutral comic route, I don't think there could be one. It's simply because it's like you're just doing whatever you want, but then it's like this is a game series with a story, and it's like a neutral comic route where the game has a story. It just wouldn't really go anywhere. You know what I mean? It's like you get the powers, but it's like, what are you gonna do with them? Especially when there's a story.
Yeah, you really can't be neutral.
That's the one way for them to test their creative ideas around this, because for me personally, I'd rather be an anti-hero than be a good guy or a bad guy. Because for starters, I use my cards however I want to use them.
Yeah, but anti-hero, I don't necessarily think goes down the necessarily neutral route. Because it's still not necessarily you just doing whatever you want. It's still you having a goal in mind, and it's something that can either benefit yourself and potentially everybody, or benefit you but negatively affect everybody else.
I think that some people might support those actions, but at the same time, it's like, because the anti-hero thing, it really differs on interpretation, because if you think to Punisher, for instance, like, you know, he doesn't kill innocents, but he sort of kills bad guys with their own conventions, which is guns. So A lot of people might not support that. They might see him as a mass murderer. Some other people might see him as like cleaning up the streets. So it really depends. Like, you know, I think that the anti-hero concept could work. It just depends on how they do it and if they tie that into the story properly, because it is like Brian is saying, like they could go nowhere with it at all. And I would prefer if it goes somewhere if they do that choice. Like it has an ending, it has a definitive route if you choose to be an anti-hero or neutral comic route.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was about to agree with Brian, but then I thought of the Witcher series, which, you know, Geralt is not, like, he's by nature, he's neutral. He can't be involved in, like, humans' affairs. He just happens to get caught up in them sometimes. So I think that would be, like, a reasonable, like, thing. Like, maybe, like, Cole is just, like, he tries to do his own thing, but for whatever reason, he just gets caught up in, like, you know, so he just kind of has to, you know, take on like a bad guy or something. He doesn't have much of a choice. So I think that would make more sense if, like, you know, in terms of like having a plot, you know, still having the neutral perspective in the plot. But
I was gonna say, like, for something like that, maybe. Now I'm not sure how much this would work, but if they had to do something like that, you know, maybe make like a separate game where you can have that happen. Like, make it a separate game where you can, like, you know, do online and battle each other, sort of thing.
Yeah.
That sounds lame.
I just think that maybe they should have someone as a DLC character that is a conduit that tries to do right, but for some reason people hate that person and some people love their actions. I guess I see it as a morally gray divide, where people can see this, where people love them, people hate them, but, you know, that's how they feel. Because it can happen. It really can happen. And I think they can do it, but it just depends on the situation and if the story is good enough for it. But if it's not, then I would prefer if they don't.
yeah, the only time Infamous really did like a moral gray area sort of thing was near the end of the second one, where it was like the person you thought was good is actually doing something bad, and the bad person is trying to do something good.
There's also First Light, because she's technically neutral in that as well.
Oh yeah, there is Fetch. Yeah, Fetch.
Wait, what?
Her name is Fetch.
Fetch.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is her name.
Don't question it.
So is she like an anti-hero or something? Or...
In her game, she's kind of technically in the middle. She does have no karma, but in the main game, based on your decisions, she become good or evil. So also one more thing I want to say is the reason why I want an anti-hero thing. His one phrase I actually agree with, it was from Star Wars, is not the power itself that is good or evil. It's only how you use it.
Yeah.
So for example, if I want to use like destructive powers, but I'm a good guy, that should be my choice, not some morale code.
Yeah, because is like one of the best ways that's explained is that morality is like morality in and of itself. It's not something where you're just like, oh, you know, I just have this morality code since day one. It's like, no, that's something you kind of learn on your own. And at the same time, it's something that people can change within a moment's notice to suit what they need. So, you know.
Yeah.
So depending on the character, you know, it can, they can either shift their morals heavily to where towards they'll be all saintly and kind, and then the next minute they're just like ruthless as you know, ruthless. They're pretty much as ruthless as, I guess you'd say, the devil. Don't judge me.
It kind of reminds me of what Cole said to Bertrand, where he said it's not the conduit that kills the person. No, it's not the powers that kill the person. It's the conduit that chooses to kill the person. So
it's like a gun in a way. Not the gun that kills the person, it's you.
Yeah, so that pretty much confirmed that Cole made the choice there that he wanted to kill Bertrand. But you know, there could be a hero that does stuff like that. That, you know, they see someone that's an impasse that's in their way, and they want to get rid of that person. So but they don't necessarily mean to be evil. So I guess it just depends on the way they do it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So we're on to question number 15. So, Mr. Brian, could you read that off, please?
In the next Infamous game, would you prefer to see the returning cast or new cast of characters? For my answer, I'd say bring back the returning cast, but if there's going to be new characters, make it just a handful of them. Like make it fewer compared to the returning cast. Because like if you're going to have like a new cast, but then you're just throwing a bunch of new characters and we don't know a thing about them and we just wind up not caring about them, it's pretty much going to be pointless.
In my opinion, I think Second Son kind of had that problem where it's like, you know, they had Delson, they had all the other new people. Eugene was cool, but they weren't. I would not say they were as memorable. Yeah, as the old cast, because it took them 2 games to establish some of these people compared to the other characters. Like, you got to get used to the fresh faces, and they either have to be very compelling or captivating or believable for you to accept them. Like, I think Joel and Ellie from The Last of Us is a good example. Like, you grew on those characters rather fast, as opposed to Delson, where it's like, oh, well, he's kind of a dick, but, you know, I can kind of see his style. I kind of like him. But it takes that sort of characterization to grow. So I guess they could introduce some old characters so we can be familiar with them, but they can't sprinkle in, like, fewer new characters so we can get accustomed to them because, again, they have to be captivating in order for me to find them believable.
Yeah, I'm mostly agree with that.
Yeah, a mix just sounds like the best kind of idea.
Yep. Because I was surprised was that mission where you get Cole's jacket, wasn't that DLC and that's the only way you see Zeke, or is he in the main game of Second Son? I don't remember.
It's only that side mission. In the limited edition, well, quote unquote limited edition, you could still find it pretty easily in my eyes, but in the limited edition it came with a voucher where you could download those missions. Mm-hmm. And that's really the only way that you could get any sort of mention of Zeke whatsoever, really.
Yeah, that I think that something like that should have been in the main game. And going off of the last few questions, I think that it could have been more of a bigger mystery as to either if Cole is alive or dead, considering the fact that you have his jacket. Maybe you're in some mission or whatever, and you sort of see something, and you're like, oh, who was that? But it's noticeable to the player, but it's not noticeable to Delson. I think that'd be pretty cool if they did that.
Yeah, you see the amp.
Yeah, you see the amp for a split second, and it's like, oh shit, I know what that is.
Yeah, I wish there would have been something more concrete, like, you know, than just his jacket. And
those missions, anyway, they weren't the greatest. Usually, I think it was you just go in and clear out like a park, and that's it. And you get some extra information, but they didn't really go into depth with it as I wanted to. So that's the stuff that I was sort of explaining.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else have any questions on 15?
No, I agree. Like a mixed bag of characters. But okay. I would prefer to see the old cast because, you know, I miss Cole.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, number 16, Mr. Brendan, could you read that off, please?
I can. Number 16. Yeah, what's your opinion on the infamous DLCs that came out, and and is there a particular expansion we got to see?
I didn't play it.
I do.
Really talk about it.
I do. I actually want to see a Eugene DLC. That's the one I felt like was missing.
I think everyone does.
Yeah.
Like the DLC, as far as something like Festival of Blood was good. You know, stuff like, you know, costumes and aesthetic changes. I thought that I actually didn't mind that much, and you know, it wasn't anything where it was like horribly expensive or anything like that. So, like I said, to me, it's you know, if it's like extra content where there's more gameplay, you know, expansive gameplay, you know, aesthetic changes where we don't have to come out, you know, we come out missing an arm and a leg just to get it, fine. Because if it plays well, that's all I could ask for. If it doesn't, well,
I think usually the DLC for Infamous games are usually like $10, which is not bad in my opinion. They always have like a lot of content. I
You
think
get new
first,
powers and two.
yeah, new powers and stuff like that. So I think $10 is not that bad in my opinion.
Yeah, like I said, if
Also,
It's
yeah,
reasonable.
if it's something where, like I said, if it's something where it actually expands and enhances the game, and it's very reasonable to just get your hands on, then like I said, that's no problem.
I definitely would say like an arm and a leg is like $40. Like no way, that's way
Yeah.
too much. That's almost like a full price game.
and they might as well give us a season pass. Like, no, just no.
You might be giving them ideas, Brandon. God damn it. But I played a little bit of First Light. I really liked it, but I didn't finish it. Festival of Blood looks interesting considering the fact that Cole's like a vampire and shit. I think
It's
that's
forever evil.
I think that's pretty cool. Is there a karmic system in that DLC or not?
No, being as a vampire, he's forever evil technically because he has to kill civilians to get blood.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He just always another way to get blood though, but that's kind of the main point. Just drink civilians' blood.
Okay, so, but that seems interesting. I do have it. I think I have all the Infamous games for the most part. I just need to go back and play every single one and do everything in there. But I think, yeah, as long as the DLC is reasonable, like Brian said, then I have no problem with more DLC content. But if you start charging over like $40, that's when I say you cross the line. No way. No way.
Where's our Eugene expansion, Sucker Punch?
Yeah, we get
Yeah,
suckered
seriously though,
that much.
because for like Eugene's like the one, I would say like second most powerful conduit in Infamous Second Son. Arguably, considering like this dude can like create like giant constructs, demons, and mega form himself, and God knows what else.
I like the video game world. That was awesome.
I swear I
Yeah,
thought you were going to say Megazord.
Yeah,
No.
sure, they have Power Rangers.
So,
But then again, we could make one.
so we're gonna close off with question 17. What is?
Can I just say one thing real quick?
Go ahead.
I don't know if you guys know this, but it has been stated that animals possess the conduit gene. I would love,
My.
like a random out of nowhere animal conduit DLC,
I want a flying cat.
just like out of just left field.
Dude, I would love it if a dog turned into the Hulk. Just imagine that buff ass dog breaking people's backs.
A giant squirrel.
Oh,
I would love if a lizard turned into a dragon.
Oh,
Okay, that makes sense.
Peter Man.
That's pretty funny. But,
A snake,
Shark man.
a snake with
Sharknado.
pyrokinesis, or an eagle with sound power. Oh my god, that'd be so freaking awesome.
Can we have a real life Sharknado?
No.
all right, so
Let's
we're gonna close off for question 17. What is the best Infamous game in your opinion?
First one.
Can I go first?
I like 2.
First
2 is
one.
pretty good.
Well,
2.
For me, I gotta go with 2 in terms of gameplay for the most part. In terms of like
Yeah.
story and impact, the first game.
Yeah, it's
I
kind
had
of
to
it's
agree
kind of
with
like 50-50 almost. Like gameplay for the second one is improved on the first one. The story isn't as good as the first one, so the first one had better story. It's
Yeah, but the second one's the gameplay was just incredible.
Oh yes, the gameplay was. I went into Infamous 2 with extremely high expectations, even pre-ordering
and
that.
also
Hero
changing
Edition.
Cole as a character in terms of his appearance and voice was a weird decision.
It was weird.
It's kind of weird nobody mentioned that though, like the whole like his voice being completely different in the second one.
Okay,
yeah.
the reason I think they said the reason they did that was because they said that they wanted an actor that could do the mocap, and they felt as though the original actor couldn't do it, so they chose someone else.
No, it would have been really smart.
What?
If okay, you know how Cole is in the first game, right? 2 endings. If they want to go with like a more energetic version of Cole, they should have gone with the main guy from the second game. And if they want a more darker Cole, which is the evil ending, they should have gone with the original voice actor for that branching path.
At least get a guy whose voice doesn't sound like his balls drop too low when he hit puberty.
Nah, man, that's the best voice. What are you talking about? I'm Batman.
The new actor was okay. I don't think it was anything worth freaking out. But but
Speaking of
it is
which-
jarring in my opinion.
Gotta
Speaking
get
of
those blast cores, Zeke.
Speaking of which, I can tell you exactly who that actor for the second game was. Hang on,
Yeah, you can tell us.
Eric Layden, however you pronounce his last
Eric
name.
Ladle.
Ladle.
Ladle frame.
Yeah,
Get
overall, I would say the first game is better. I mean, the gameplay's not as good, but it's still like
It's
just
doable.
better story. So
It made you feel the feels.
The
Yeah.
PvPs.
Second game purely just because the gameplay was so vastly improved, and I just love like the expansion of powers, like especially with Frost and Napalm. And for the love of God, that lightning tether is so fun to use.
It's a shame that they took away a couple of powers, though, like the Karma Overload or the Overload Burst or the little lightning spark thing you get for the evil powers. That kind of just blows everything up on content.
I do like the tether though. It gets you around the city much faster than they did in Infamous 1.
Yep. Or the Ice Launch. That's a good one.
Yeah, Ice Launch. I remember that one too.
Oh, yeah, combine that with the improved static thrusters and the lightning tether.
Oh yeah, Match Made in
Don't see
Heaven.
as high.
Oh.
Man, it's
Let me
orgasming.
You
Let me
know,
tell you about the day
Renegade,
I blast
real,
cord 3 times.
Go ahead,
no,
Brandon.
real quick, can we, can I ask you one more question?
Go ahead.
In that fight between Good Cole and Good Delson, who will win the fight? Like, legit. Powers just
Cole would
them
win every time.
It'd be
I
a
think
slap
Cole's,
fight.
he's stronger, just much stronger, and he's more experienced. So of course, I don't know. I would say it depends on the experience. If there's not enough experience on both ends, it might be a draw.
It'd be a slap fight, I'm telling you.
If Cole,
Probably won't.
if it's Infamous 2 Cole, then I don't think Delson has a chance.
Right.
See, here's the thing. I mean, just my 2 cents. We've seen how powerful he can get. We've seen how powerful Cole can get with Kessler. And we also know that Cole is already stronger than Kessler by the end of Infamous 2.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he still can't do the teleporting thing, which he even
He
comments.
still has potential, basically. He's still getting stronger.
Yeah, he actually comments in Infamous 2 when Quo just gets her powers and she's like teleporting, and he's like, "What? That's not fair. Everybody can do that but me." But I mean,
I love that.
but like other than that, clearly he still has some ways to go. But he's already stronger than Kessler, even though he doesn't have all of his abilities. And we don't actually know to what extent Delson has abilities that he copies.
You know, it actually reminds me of
Yeah.
something.
That's
Yeah.
real quick, Brian. That's a good point because Eugene and to a degree Fetch shown that they're better with the neon and video powers than Delson is.
It's a power call video. Can we just think about that for a second?
Video.
Well, yeah,
I
because
just
it's
think
most-
that they couldn't think of a name, so they called it
Technically
that.
called Art Light, because that's what it is.
Vidya. Let's go Vidya.
But yeah, like it's like when she gets the teleportation thing, I thought about that that Hego Raptor Sonic the Hedgehog parody.
Okay, it's time to close out. So it's time for everyone to do outros.
Formation.
Yeah, it's the outro time. So, where can we find you, Mr. Arcane Magic?
Well, you already said it on Twitter, Arcane Magic 514.
All right, Chaos.
You can find me at YouTube at Captain Chaos, and you can find me on Twitter at the same name.
And the cereal box called Captain Crunch.
Yes, yes, I created that. That's my original cereal.
Mr. Inferno Dragon.
You can find me on YouTube at Inferno Dragon 343 and on Twitter at
All right.
Inferno Dragon 3D.
All right, what about you, Mr. Ray Things?
Oh, you know what? You can find me on YouTube as Ray Things. I mean, it's really simple. And then on Twitter as Ray Things Gaming. You know, and if you're feeling extra raunchy, you can go check out Nerdgasm on YouTube as well. Just saying, you know. It's not gross raunchy, just, if you're feeling like, you want to do something else.
All right, Mr. Milk.Artist, where can we find you?
Dictionary.
You can find me on Twitter as the Milk.Artist at BrianWord1. I'm usually around, and I state my opinions on some things.
They're
So
terrible.
you want to know?
You can
just
find them
ask.
in the Encyclopedia Britannia.
Stop smoking
You
cigarettes.
guys. Screw you guys.
All right, and you can find me on Twitter at rentoperative_. You can find my dogs barking in the background. You can find me on YouTube at Renegade Operative. And this wraps up this infamous podcast. So I think next one for episodic discussion, I have to take a look which one's going to be. I think it's going to be like Batman Arkham. So it's going to be pretty fun, actually.
Talk about the Telltale Batman. Just kidding.
Oh,
Oh, sir.
I didn't think the story was too bad, but I do think gameplay wise, the Batman Arkham series is much superior. So
Well, yeah,
Honestly.
Telltale is just point and click.
yeah, of course. So we're gonna talk about that next Thursday or Wednesday. I don't remember, but this is Renegade Operative signing out. Look forward to that, and we will see you guys next time in YouTube land. Take care.
off to the zoo.
Bye.
This was fun.